Someone said something sharp to you today. Maybe it was a colleague who snapped at you in front of everyone. Maybe it was a family member who turned a simple conversation into an attack. Maybe it was just a comment online. Something small, something stupid, and somehow it followed you for the rest of the day. You replayed it. You built arguments in your head. You felt the heat of it hours later, lying in bed, still having that conversation in your mind that the other person already forgot. And here's the part that stings the most. You know it shouldn't affect you this much. You know it, but it does. Every single time. What if the problem isn't that you're too sensitive? What if the problem is something completely different? Something almost no one talks about. I'll get to that. But first, understand what's actually happening when someone's negativity hits you. People don't throw negativity at you because of you. They throw it because of what's happening inside them. Anger, frustration, embarrassment, fear. These are heavy things to carry. And most people have never learned how to carry them properly. So they drop them on whoever is closest, on whoever reacts, on whoever makes it feel okay to release the pressure. When someone screams at you or dismisses you, or sends a cold message dripping with contempt, they are not seeing you clearly. They are seeing their own chaos and throwing it outward. You just happen to be standing there. This doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. It absolutely does. But the moment you understand this, that their reaction belongs to them, not to you, something shifts. The weight of it stops being yours to carry. Here's the part most people skip over. The reason other people's negativity lands so hard isn't always because they said something terrible. Sometimes it lands hard because part of you wonders if they're right. A harsh comment barely scratches someone who is solid inside, but it cuts deep in someone who is already questioning themselves. The outer attack connects to an inner wound. That's not weakness, that's just how it works. And recognizing it is the beginning of actually fixing it, not just coping with it. So what do you do? Not theoretically. In real life, in the actual moment when someone is difficult, rude, cold, or cruel, you pause, not counting to 10 like a child, something much more deliberate. Between the moment something hits you and the moment you respond, there is a space. Most people never live in that space. They react before they've even decided to. The emotion fires, the mouth opens, the body tenses, and suddenly they're in the middle of something they didn't choose. That space, that single breath between stimulus and response, is where your actual power lives. When someone snaps at you, your nervous system reads it as a threat. Your body prepares for a fight that doesn't need to happen. If you move immediately, you're not choosing your response. You're just following the biological script. But if you pause, genuinely pause, even for a moment, you create the distance between their chaos and your clarity. In that pause, one question can change everything. Not, why are they doing this to me? Because that keeps you locked in the emotion. But simply, is this mine? Is this anger? Is this criticism? Is this coldness? Does it actually belong to me? Most of the time, the honest answer is no. It belongs to them, to their bad day, their unresolved pain, their exhaustion, their own battles that have nothing to do with you. And once you see that clearly, you don't need to absorb it. You can let it pass through without taking root. If this is already clicking for you, if you feel like this channel actually gets how you think, consider subscribing. Not for the numbers, but because this is the kind of thinking we keep going deeper into every single week. Emotional clarity, real discipline, quiet control. That's what this space is built for. Here's what most advice completely misses. People tell you don't let it get to you. Okay, but how? No one explains the how. So here it is. You stop trying to control what you cannot control, and you get very precise about what you actually can. You cannot control whether someone is rude to you today. You cannot control someone's tone, their assumptions, their bad mood, their unprocessed anger, their need to make someone else feel small so they can feel bigger. Trying to manage it, trying to prevent it, trying to make everyone around you calm and reasonable. That is an exhausting, impossible project, and it will drain you every single day. What you can control is your own interior, your reaction, your interpretation, what you allow to settle inside you, and what you consciously release. That is a small territory, but it is completely yours. And when you stop spending energy trying to fix other people's behavior and redirect that energy inward, something quietly remarkable happens. You become harder to disturb, not numb, not cold, just stable, rooted. The wind blows and you sway a little, but you don't fall. Imagine you're watching a circus. There's chaos everywhere, performers shouting, things flying through the air, dramatic music, unexpected movements. If you're in the middle of the ring, it's overwhelming, disorienting. You don't know where to look, what to dodge, how to stay calm. But if you're in the audience, watching from a little distance, it's actually fascinating. Nothing is hitting you. You're observing, not absorbing. Most people go through difficult interactions like they're in the ring. You want to train yourself to step back into the audience. Not to disengage from life, but to stop treating every drama as your emergency. People who are consistently difficult, always irritable, always critical, always finding something wrong, they are exhausting themselves far more than they are exhausting you. Chronic negativity is not a personality type. It's a symptom of unprocessed pain, of chronic stress, of a life that hasn't felt manageable in a long time. You can feel some compassion for that without signing up to be their emotional dumping ground. Compassion from a distance. That's a real skill, a boundary that doesn't require a dramatic conversation. Just an internal decision about where you end and where their chaos begins. The reason negativity lands so hard, so personally, so persistently, is often not about the other person at all. It's about the unresolved uncertainty in certain parts of your own self-image. The places where you're not yet fully sure of yourself. The wounds that haven't quite healed. Other people's cruelty or carelessness is like a probe. It finds the tender spots. It doesn't create the pain, it reveals where the pain already exists. That's actually good news, because it means the solution isn't managing other people. It's building yourself. Not arrogantly, not defensively, but solidly. A quiet, deep, genuine sense of who you are and what you stand for. When that is present, really present, random negativity just doesn't have the same grip. It slides off. Not because you stopped caring about anything, but because you became too grounded to be easily knocked over. You are not too sensitive. You are not broken for being affected by how people treat you. You are human. The goal is not to become a person who feels nothing. The goal is to become a person who feels things, processes them cleanly, and doesn't carry them into tomorrow. That's a very different thing. One is shutting down, the other is building up. The next time someone is difficult, genuinely difficult, rude, dismissive, harsh, before you respond, take one breath. Ask yourself, is this mine? Most of the time, the answer is no. Let that be enough to shift you from reaction to choice. You don't have to say anything wise. You don't have to fix them. You don't have to win. You just have to decide not to absorb what isn't yours. Then, later, not in the heat of it, but later, notice if the comment found something tender in you. Not to blame yourself, but to understand yourself. Because every place that still stings is a place that wants your attention. Not from the other person, from you. Other people's chaos is not your responsibility. Their noise is not your signal. Their pain, when it comes out sideways and lands on you, you can acknowledge it without keeping it. You can be affected without being defined by it. You are not a trash can for other people's unresolved emotions. And the moment you stop acting like one, quietly, without drama, simply by choosing differently, your days start to feel genuinely lighter. That's not a small thing. That's actually everything.